Well, that offensive stance didn't work out too well for Synergy Auto Care. The viral video got thousands of comments and reactions. So it was so bad that Synergy Auto Care deleted not only the video, but also its Facebook page. And here in D.C., listen to how a white woman described Juneteenth.
Juneteenth is, excuse me, what's happening to the white people? They have a Black Miss America. They have a Black college. They have a Black month. What do we have? And now they have Juneteenth. Yes, I understand there was slavery, don't get me wrong. But there was also a Holocaust, and that was more recent than slavery. But you don't hear the Jews saying, gimme, 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 gimme. What's the point of Juneteenth? What is it? I don't know.
And it is this white grievance, it is this kind of pain that they are feeling that we're seeing being enacted by the federal government when it comes to the reality of many of these situations. And if we're not going to do anything about this, we're not going to have a real conversation, then we can expect this to continue happening. I want to go to the panel real quick. Michael, why do you think these people are so, as the young people say, butthurt over Black folks having a holiday?
Because they're stupid. That's why. They're stupid. Okay, let me break this down, because I've been doing a lot of presentations dealing with Juneteenth. I've done one for Wayne County Community College for professors there, blew them away. I've done one past. I was on the Carl Nelson show, WOLB, out of Baltimore yesterday morning. Juneteenth is an opportunity to force into a national conversation a history that Republicans and state legislatures are passing laws to suppress the teaching of that history, and you have an attack from the federal government as well on African American history also. So Americans are very ignorant of history. First of all, if we deal with this, Juneteenth first of all, goes back to 1866, and African Americans have been celebrating that since 1866. Okay, Major General Gordon Granger delivering General Order Number 3. I like Roland's video, but I just got to interject here. The Civil War continued for another 16 months after April 9th, 1865, when General Robert E. Lee surrendered to Ulysses S. Grant. And there was a battle in Texas, actually May 12, 1865, the Battle of Palmito Ranch, which was the last land battle of the Civil War. It took place right there in Texas. So when you study that history, even though General Robert E. Lee surrendered, there were other Confederate generals who had smaller armies, like General Joseph E. Johnston, or that racist Nathan Bedford Forrest, who in 1867 became the first Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. Roland is correct. December 18th, 1865, the 13th Amendment is adopted. That's when Kentucky and Delaware abolished slavery. So what you see in the media, and part of it pisses me off by white-controlled media when they put this false information out, Delaware and Kentucky didn't abolish slavery until 6 months after Juneteenth. So how could Juneteenth be the last day of slavery? They don't want to tell the truth. And then when you deal with the Emancipation Proclamation, we know that Maryland didn't abolish slavery till May 1st, 1864, when they put it on the ballot, and it almost did not pass. The Washington Post has an excellent article called The Not Quite Free State of Maryland. We know Tennessee didn't abolish slavery till February 22nd, 1865. That's 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. And Roland's actually correct. And I tell people to read these original documents. Go to archives.gov, U.S. National Archives, or Library of Congress website, loc.gov. The Emancipation Proclamation was a military strategy that Lincoln was implementing to try to bring the South back into the Union. The initial Emancipation Proclamation was September 22nd, 1862, and it stated that the states and territories in rebellion, if they did not come back into the Union by January 1st, 1863, that their slaves would be set free. He had no authority to do that, but Maryland, Missouri, Kentucky, and Delaware were allowed to keep their slaves. So we really have to get deep into this history, separate fact from fiction. And lastly, when we deal with why those slaves were still being held in Texas, is because the Texas State Confederate Constitution of 1861 banned freeing the slaves. Even in a slave owner's will, it was illegal to free them. That's why there were 250,000 enslaved Africans, and all of those people did not get the word on January 19th. Major General Gordon Granger and the 2,000 Union troops, most of them African-American men, go throughout Texas to physically bring Texas back into the Union. So it takes a period of time to do this. June 19th was the date agreed upon to celebrate freedom coming to Texas, but everybody did not get the word on June 19th either.
And I think that information is so important, Dr. Kirk, because when we have these conversations, it's almost as if you heard the lady in the last video. They don't want us to have nothing. Why do you think that it goes that deep, or we can't even honor a symbolic date? It's not like we're saying, let's celebrate Nat Turner's birthday. Let's celebrate the Stono Rebellion. Let's celebrate John Brown. Let's have Haitian Independence Day where we celebrate. We're celebrating Juneteenth. Why do you think the hatred goes so deeply?
The hatred goes so deeply because these people are willfully ignorant. She needs to be worried about getting a washcloth and sunscreen instead of worried about what Black people are celebrating and what they have earned She is the epitome of what is wrong with the entire MAGA movement. There are people sitting in the poorest county in Kentucky. It's the poorest county in the United States of America. The name fails me. Where you have 96% of the people living at the poverty rate. 90+% of them lack health insurance, but over 98% of them voted for Donald Trump because they are more concerned about Black people not having something that they themselves choose to also not have. She has her priorities all misconstrued. But it's not only her. It also goes back to the president, the man who's sitting in the White House, who initially proposed a holiday, but who then, as we saw from Roland's video, came out and said that it was too many unpaid days off. While this man takes unpaid weekends every single weekend and golfs at Mar-a-Lago, while he should be instead worried about how to de-escalate the Middle East. And I just wanted to make sure that your viewers know that while on yesterday, Donald Trump came out and said that we don't deserve a Juneteenth, that this is a holiday that should not be celebrated in America, the former president of the United States, Joseph Robinette Biden, who is battling prostate cancer, got on a plane, flew to Galveston, Texas to celebrate Juneteenth at a Black church with the people of Galveston, Texas, with the mother of Juneteenth and the people that brought this holiday to light and who fought this holiday. I just want to make sure that everyone knows that too, because it's a tale of two presidents and two different ways they're trying to approach this holiday.
Well, elections matter. Matt, right, real quick before we go to break.
My mother is from the Texas City, Galveston area. My great-grandfather had a church there. My people are there. So somebody in my family literally may have been there on this day and learned. And what it comes down to is racism. They don't care about us. They hate the fact that they are not the center. And when I say they, I mean primarily white people. I mean, just look at this. People are saying, well, this lady saying, what about the white people? Why don't we get more? And it's crazy because in this country where chattel slavery is the country's original sin, and, you know, it's clearly a day of independence, they are miffed by the idea that anything would come in and affect July 4th being their Independence Day. It's purely racism. There's no other way to say it. And, you know, announcing it on that day or posting it on Truth Social on that day is purposeful. But I don't think there's any euphemism or any intellectualizing hate. That's all this is. This is hate. And I think we're very soon going to be back in the point where it is okay to say the N-word openly because you see MAGA increasing that rhetoric and fomenting that hate, and I think we're sliding towards that place. So that's where we are.
You're absolutely correct. All right, we're going to go to a quick break. We're going to keep this conversation going on the other side. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network.
Did you know that the Washington Monument is based upon an ancient African structure called a tekken that comes from the mythology of Asar, Arset, and Heru, who the Greeks called Osiris, Isis, and Horus? Did you know that the panther deity Bast in the movie Black Panther and Wakanda Forever comes from an ancient African deity, a neter in ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet, called Bastet? Did you know that there were 17 pyramids found buried underneath Egypt around 2011? Also, the city of Memphis, Tennessee. What's the relationship between Memphis, Tennessee and Memphis in ancient Egypt? I'm historian and national political commentator Michael Imhotep. Be sure to register for my new 12-week online history course, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Kemet is one of the original names for Egypt. We deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. Did you know that the word Wakanda is a real word? We find it in the Kikongo language, which is a Bantu language, but we also find it in the Omaha Ponca and Sioux Indian Native American languages. My class starts up Saturday, March 1st, 2025, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a 12-week online history course. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. We deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. When we talk about the transatlantic slave trade, we can't start our studying of the history in 1619 in Hampton, Virginia, or in Jamestown. We can't start in 1441 with the transatlantic slave trade starting with the Portuguese. We have to deal with thousands of years of history that leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. We'll deal with the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors, who take the teachings from the Nile Valley region of Africa into Europe, and this